The case of a young Chinese woman whose freedom was lost can be analyzed as a prime example of information disruption. In both financial markets and legal systems, risk is not dramatically increased by a single action, but by a lack of transparency in information. In the stock market, prices don't reflect absolute value, but rather the available information. When information is obscured, delayed, or controlled, the market misjudges risk. Major bubbles and crashes throughout history share a common characteristic. Investors no longer see the whole picture. This principle also applies to legal systems. When individuals lack access to complete information, are unable to express their views, or do not fully understand the decision-making process, the entire system enters a state of information asymmetry. In this state, the outcome often reflects not fairness, but rather control over information. This girl's story illustrates the consequences of being isolated from the flow of information. When information flows in only one direction, an individual's ability to protect themselves is virtually non-existent. Decisions made in an environment lacking transparency tend to be decisive and difficult to challenge. In finance, professional investors constantly monitor market signals to detect risks early. Decreased liquidity, increased volatility, or unusual silence from large institutions are all considered warning signs. When signals are distorted, the market loses its ability to self-correct. The legal system, in theory, also needs similar signals. Access to lawyers, public trials, and oversight mechanisms exist to ensure that information is not monopolized. When these signals weaken, the system's ability to correct errors is significantly reduced. Another important point is the valuation of risk over time. In the stock market, risk is often not valued immediately. It accumulates gradually as information is concealed, until even a small event is enough to cause a sharp price correction. This explains why many stock crashes occur suddenly, even though warning signs have existed beforehand. The case analyzed also demonstrates similar logic. When information is limited for an extended period, the system loses its ability to self-correct. By the time a final decision is made, there is no longer enough data or time to re-evaluate the entire process. From a risk management perspective, the lesson is clear. A safe system is not one that is error-free, but one that allows for continuous information flow. In finance, this helps the market adjust prices in a timely manner. In society, it helps banks prevent decisions with long-term consequences. This case analysis is not intended to recount a personal story, but rather to highlight a general principle. When information is controlled, the risk doesn't disappear, it's just delayed. In the stock market, that delay ends in a sharp correction.